Hey guys, welcome back. We're kind of, if you're joining us for the first time, make sure that you subscribe to our platforms, and we're hoping that we can do this neighborly thing together. So, I'm Victor. Actually, we didn't introduce our names. I'm Victor or Vic, and this is Kevin. And it sounds like you guys have like the first, okay, two syllables, just one syllable. I have two syllables. Maybe I'll just say I'm Vic, okay? And this is Kevin, and this is Dave. So welcome to the Three Neighbors. So we started off talking about, how my experience moving to the U.S. and how I met Kevin and also Dave. And I think we already talked about how we met during Christmas. We kind of exchanged gifts, and from there the conversation led to a lot of wonderful places. And one of the best things that have happened to us, my family has also been meeting this too. They've been wonderful and incredible people. I'm not saying that because they're here, but they are, really. But we wanted to kind of move our conversation forward about, and talk a bit more about just the idea of being a neighbor, because we thought it might make sense just starting our first podcast, just staying there a little bit, and some of the things that, not just experience, but also some of the things that comes from that. In particular, we talked about washing cars and how important that is. How today also we don't have that as a weekend practice. But also Dave was also saying something when we had our break about how one of your friend, when he interviews someone and about the car and washing the car and how that's a reflection of the person. And it's interesting. I was just thinking about that, and I thought it's actually a good strategy for hiring people.
It was something in a news article that I read, and it was this hiring manager who would always walk the candidate out to their vehicle, as he said, to make sure that they get back safely to their car.
Yeah.
And what he was doing is looking at their car inside and out. And what he described was if I've got a candidate, although qualified, if their car's in shambles, dirty, not taken care of, if there's fast food bags and fries all out, that person's, off limits.
Yeah.
They'll not even, consider that person. And, a little different than if your car's dirty because it hadn't been cleaned in a week or two, something like that. But you can look in somebody's car and tell how they keep their house and what type of person they are.
Right.
And I say that being prior to law enforcement, that's one of the things that people judge too. And they did this study years ago on why police officers were assaulted. They had interviewed all these inmates, and it basically boiled down to, I thought I could take them. And, there were some that come back, says, well, he kind of looked like a Marine the way he looked. Nice pressed uniform, shiny shoes. And I didn't think I could take them. So there's some psychological stuff there as well. But I think, part of another thing too on being a good neighbor, is just looking out for each other. There's a lot of things that Kevin does for me that I always make the joke, there's a special place in heaven.
Yeah,
Kevin.
Yeah.
He's just
an amazing man.
He's just a very generous man. But I think that, whether you travel for work or vacation, at some point you're going to be away from your home.
Yeah.
And, cameras are great and all that, but I also want to have someone looking out for it. And some of that too starts with trust. When I'm not to it, they're about to say, yes, on my tip of my.
How would you build that trust? Because there's also a situation where it's possible that people might take advantage of the kindness of a particular neighbor, right? How do you build that trust on one hand, but how do you need to have some kind of boundaries, so that people don't take advantage of that? And I say this personally because there are situations where, and I'm sure some people might want to take advantage of your kindness. Like recently, before we get to trust, there was a situation where, if you don't know yet, I'm the only one leasing, so which is why I set it off saying that they're rich and I'm still getting that. So anyway, so the guy that owned the house that I was leasing knew Kevin and asked him if he could help to kind of cut the branches of the tree at the back of my head. And I felt really bad about that because on one hand, it's his responsibility to do that. And now he's calling my neighbor to do that for him. And of course, in that kind of situation, I didn't know what to do. To be honest, I wanted to really help be there. I didn't want Kevin to feel like he's doing that by himself because now it's like, but to overall, I know, but still, does it make sense? Like, it's...
Look, you either have trust or you don't. And that's like with any relationship, it's going to take time to build that.
Yeah.
But you say that, but I don't mean to cut you off. I think between the three of us, the trust factor came quick. I just remember like our first 1 or 2 conversations, I never doubted, okay, this is a bad guy or something. But when you rewind back to some of the original when they got, the book here, in 2005, I had to build trust. It was a little different community. It was a lot younger.
Right.
There was a lot elderly folks that lived in this neighborhood.
Right.
And I just remember just the conversations that we got into, the questions that they would ask me.
Like what kind of questions?
Like, what do you do? What do you Nah, it's different than us asking each other, what do you do? It's more of a, like a suspiciousness, who I am and what am I doing?
Right.
Where it comes from.
That's interesting.
Totally understand, because you want to know who you're living by.
Right.
Mike was a lot younger, and at that time, they would look a little different,
Yeah.
From that's fair, So that,
So you think building trust in that sense, sadly, it might be contingent on external factors. Maybe people have too many. If you think that this person has a good job, then he's a good person. What if the person doesn't have a job? Does it mean the person can also be a good person? I guess that's kind of, what do you think? Like, it's something that will be in a situation, let's say, if the person, the neighbor, doesn't really have something stable yet. Does that really could you still build trust?
There's some great homeless people out there.
Yeah.
Just falling on that.
But is it easy to do that, though?
To trust?
Yeah. That's,
of course. I mean, what do I got to lose?
If you don't trust someone that might be a danger.
Kevin's got my garage code.
Yeah.
He knows how to get in the house if he needs to. I don't ever think about that. It's just, for me, it's that feel. It's all about character. Either you're a good person or you're a bad person.
Right.
Whether you're old or young or whatever, it doesn't make a difference to me.
Yeah.
We build that trust with each other.
Yeah.
And, when Kevin goes out of town, especially, when he and his wife go out of town, I'll politely get up there. I'll say, hey, man, I'm going out of town. I'm back here at home. And that's not for me to be a chaperone. No. If they got friends over, that's none of my business. I'm just there to make sure that if they need something, that I'm closer than 911. Yeah, I still went out of town.
Yes, this are
out of town a couple of months ago. One of the first times that my wife and I have been out of town together and leaving our kids at home. And both of my kids, I gave them Dave's cell phone number. I said, if anything happens, specifically if you're in a car accident, you call Dave before you call me. I'm here. You call Dave.
There's a sense of safety that it's funny. My wife was actually telling me the other day, there's a sense of safety knowing that David's around.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, being a retired serviceman, but also Dave doesn't play around, right?
What do you have? No emergency.
Yeah, he's ready to go. Which I think it's. But coming back to building trust, what are the practical steps to building trust? Let's say a viewer that is watching this video now that has a neighbor or maybe new in the neighborhood and trying to kind of develop some kind of rapport with their neighbor. What are the practical things the person can do? Or maybe the person has been living there for a long time and hasn't actually built that relationship with the neighbor. What are the practical things they can do?
Well, I don't know about practicality, but to build that trust, I think it's kind of just watching those behaviors and those habits of that person. Like I talked about the elderly folks that I had in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Did you win your trust later?
I think over time, seeing me come and go, what does he do? What does he do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Sunday morning? They may be leaving with my kids dressed. So they kind of, if they're watching, I know they watch.
Of course.
Because they'll make little comments that,
right.
I thought you did this. I thought this. Yeah. It's just, that they're watching.
Right.
So it's nothing you can specifically do. It's just, you just have to rock steady in your life and see what you do and what you don't do.
Right. So kind of lead with character or maybe be yourself. And over time, what if the self that you're presenting to the world unconsciously to yourself might actually be the kind of self that it's untrustworthy? Now, what happens to it? Does it mean that, that relationship or trust wouldn't happen?
I think I kind of brought up a good point about taking the initiative.
Yeah.
Right. So as the homeowner here, the firstborn of us three that lived here, he felt he took the initiative. And I've got a lot to learn off of that because you moved in and you took the initiative. It shouldn't be make the initiative. But anyway, I think trust is built on that reaction too. If you make that initiative and somebody wants to join in and build that friendship, build that dialogue, and then that continues, that's where that ladder of trust starts. But if you engage with them and they're standoffish, or I don't know, it's just a vibe that I think you can feel with people. Hey, I don't want anything to do with you. Okay, fair enough. Guess where they fall on that trust list? Doesn't mean they're good or bad.
Right.
It just means I'm not giving them the keys to my house. So for me, that's what it is. I've done a pretty good job over the years of being able to read people. When you're a police officer, you get lied to 10 times out of a while. You tend to put a little bit more effort into it to find out the truth. So that's it for me. But we hit it off. All of us have. And that's what, to me, that's what makes a neighborhood. Because you don't have an expectation of a quality life once you leave their driveway.
Right.
We're all upset with sitting in traffic. We're waiting because somebody had a crash.
Yeah.
We know we're going into work and the boss is probably having a bad day. But when I'm back into that driveway and I open my front door, I guess I feel like I'm entitled to a quality of life. That's my home. So I want to have it. Now, what helps that quality of life is when you have good neighbors looking out for you. I know I don't have to worry about, like we said earlier, a drug deal that's going on and gunfire going off in the air. That's part of that quality of life. So being good neighbors and looking out for each other is part of that quality.
But then what then happens when you don't have a good neighbor? You've tried. You've reached out your hands. You know that this person doesn't have integrity. You can't trust this person. And
well, because of how you define a bad neighbor. I was going to say, because we have neighbors that maybe we just keep at our arm's length. Like you said earlier, not necessarily bad people, but just folks that we just choose not to engage with. Stay over there. Like you told me a long time ago, just mind your business. Stay there. You do your thing, you do mine. We may become friends, but become more neighborly.
he told you that.
Mind your business. Whatever you do, as long as it doesn't impact me.
What led to that, though? What led to that conversation?
May have been because of my last one. I'll tell you how I handled that. He was, the old neighbor was slinging drugs out of there.
Oh, wow.
Cars full up. And again, calling my one. You don't have to attend the police academy to know what's going on. And it's starting to cross over into my driveway. We're now I see trash from there.
Oh, wow.
These baggies, all the paraphernalia, and then it started getting loud. So I just went over there, had a talk, knocked on the door, said, "Hey, you know who I am, you know my background. This is going to stop. I've told you before. You do what you want to do, and as long as it doesn't involve me, but this is involving me. So this is your one and only warning. I have a lot of friends in law enforcement around this area. If it doesn't stop, immediately, I'm going to send the Ninja Turtles through your window." Through your windows at 5 o'clock in the morning. And there was an apology, and then all of a sudden it stopped. So you got to have those difficult conversations too. And like Kevin said, we've got some great neighbors. Some of them just want to mind their own business and stay to themselves for one reason or another. It doesn't make a difference to me.
What do you think might be some of those reasons why maybe, neighbors decide, well, I respect you. I'm not saying you're a bad person, but we might just stay always.
I mean, I think in this area, we have a lot of transient folks for whatever reason. Some folks I've seen since I've been here in 2005, I've seen folks come and go.
Yeah.
And some folks just don't want to have that level of engagement with their neighbors.
But why is that, though? Is it culture? Is that?
I think it's a level of uncomfortability being social in today's world, especially with the younger generation. We could sit around. I mean, we could sit around this table and hang out for 6 hours. We could probably, hang out for an hour a night. Pick out stuff.
So you think it's a generational problem?
I do for some of them. And then, like he said, this is a transient area. When you have, I think my next door neighbor now is from, I believe, somewhere in South America. Now I've met her friend, and he's a really nice guy, and the entire family is just wonderful people. But other than saying hello and goodbye, we just don't engage. And I think it may be because of the language barrier. Okay. I can speculate all day, but what does that mean? Nothing at the end of the day.
Right.
I'm a neighbor in close proximity. I won't say how close, but in close proximity, closer to me than you all. Maybe you, but just will not speak. When he moved in, I tried to speak. which is fine. Okay,
As a person from a different culture, was he American or moved from?
I assume he's American. I think I may know his background.
Right. So it's not just culture, essentially.
Which is fine. It's, it's okay if he doesn't want to speak. Nothing he does, well, it impacts me. Nothing I do impacts him.
So did you guys at some point got to the point where you started having conversation?
We've never had a conversation.
Whoa, really? And how long have you guys been neighbor now?
Probably a couple of years now.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Which is like I said, it's okay. Yeah, we all have to be.
But you would expect a certain level of, I guess you guys are civil, but a certain level of camaraderie, even if you don't want to, always say hello to the person every time. But, yeah. But does that also create a sense of fear and uncertainty and the need to be on guard? Because even though you're not saying the person's a bad person, right? But that uncertainty that comes with that, where it's friendship, that relationship, do you think that might be a reason for most people to also be on guard? Just,
No, there's nothing that he does I can see that gives me red flags.
Right.
Personally.
Okay.
The fact that he doesn't want to or engage is okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Like our reason why, for example, myself, I've not bothered about installing a camera is because Kevin has a camera, Dave has a camera. I don't particularly feel I need to, right? And also because of also the fact that I trust both of them, but then it's making me wonder if maybe one of my neighbors, we're not getting along, and I could tell that this person, not that he or she doesn't like me, but somehow we don't have the same kind of symmetry. Maybe that might trigger me that sense of being not unsafe, being on guard could make me to want to consider protecting myself a bit more. Do you think that might be part of the reason? I don't know. Just this is maybe a psychologist just try to think about it from a behavioral lens just to see.
Well, I mean, neighbors here, and I have to be concerned with from a safety standpoint.
Yeah,
I'd be more concerned with folks from outside of the neighborhood.
Right. Okay.
There may be some bad actors I don't know
about.
But,
right.
From what I can see around me, there's no big harm. Fear is not the word that I would. You wouldn't classify me into that category.
Yeah, no. Dave is different.
I'm saying, well, I'm not this big tough guy. No fear. Oh, there's all fear, but no, I mean, there's things that we should fear.
Yeah.
But a neighbor that doesn't engage with me, I just that's not an emotion for me. Now I may watch a little bit more.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, be on guard.
On guard is more like a preventive type of stuff, but I don't need to fall into that category. It's just, hey, you're a neighbor that wants to be off to yourself. How about it?
Yeah.
Here's the thing: if something happens to that house, if they got a kid that gets out of the house at 3:00 in the morning and it's cold, I guarantee you that neighbor that you suspected of being kind of shady will probably be the first one there to help. I look at it like if something were to happen to Kevin at his house or something like that, God forbid, the neighbor that doesn't speak with him will probably be the first to react and help out. So, and my advice is just don't speculate.
Yeah,
that's their personality. That's what they want.
It might be a personality thing. I guess because for most people, in psychology, there's usually 5 classical personalities. One is openness, extroversion, neuroticism, conscientiousness. And I'm trying to remember the 5th one. When you start to look deeply into that, you find where people fall in. Some might be high on one and low on one. But I don't know if there's more to that than just personality. Maybe also they had their own experience previously, and it could also be based on stereotype as well. It could be a lot of things, I guess.
But that's the thing. I just don't have an expectation that all of my immediate neighbors that we have the same type of relationship that we all have.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know if that's realistic. It'd be great, but I personally don't have that expectation. Like I said, I made some great relationships,
right?
With you guys, and then my neighbor next door. I mean, hell, we've been great friends since 2005 since we moved in. Our kids have grown up,
right.
Together we've gone up, and we've been out many times, countless times.
Yeah,
as a couple, and my wife, his wife, our kids when they were younger. But I don't have that expectation of everybody.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I can't imagine what type of how that would affect your personal like the way you think. Yeah, it's like why doesn't this guy like me? Just doesn't. Well, is it because of this? Is it because who cares?
Yeah, but also the fact that the person lives just close to you, you guys don't say hello. Or, I don't know. There's a sense of wariness that comes with that.
For a full 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, when that sits 6 feet away from you, that won't speak to me. Which
That's interesting.
I mean, that's okay. I mean, for whatever reason, like you said, I'm gonna sit here and try to figure out the reason why I go crazy. Everybody's acting like me for whatever reason. It may not be because they don't want.
It just could be. It could be a thing with like their own problem. Yeah, true. It could be something that they know.
Just the morning gauge. I mean, rip up to that. I just think that when you're running into somebody new, whether you mentioned going to the party, but you're in there, you just have a conversation, and they're standoffish for one reason or another. Don't speculate. You don't know what's going on in that.
Right.
They could have just took the family member, somebody in the hospital. There's so many possibilities. You just gotta let it go.
Yes.
You being nice to that person, and them coming back and saying, "Hey, that guy was really nice to me, and I really treated him like crap. I wish I could find him to say I'm sorry." They'll just pay for it.
Well, that's different with someone you meet on the road compared to someone you. And then over the years, but maybe there's something happening with the person that it would take a special kind of compassion to see beyond that standoffish kind of vibe to still.
How many do you make? And how many did you make in that case?
And get to the point where you're like, you know what?
To be honest, I don't make a lot of attempts. It's okay. And just, I don't go out of my way. Maybe that's wrong of me, but yes.
Cool. Because I think it should go both ways, really. But what is your advice for someone, let's say, that might be in this situation, either moving into a neighborhood or being in a place where there's been that kind of, do you think the person should just live their life and just let it be? Or is there something the person can do to kind of stay some kind of relationship or camaraderie with the neighbor? Not to the point where they are friends, that's not what I'm saying, but at least there's some kind of, I don't know.
Let live God. Look, I like Kevin's approach of going and making that initial contact. That's good. But if they don't want to engage, understand that my quality of life and the definition is going to be different from their quality of life.
Right.
If their quality of life means come home, say that I got my business, and mind your own business, and don't want to have any friendships or relationships outside of whenever and there may be a reason. Maybe the last place they lived, then a neighbor broke in or something, I don't know.
So fair enough.
If they want to be that way, I'm going to force them. But then you have those neighbors that are constantly on the lookout. They're they're the nosy Nancy's or whatever you call them. I don't care. I'm not doing anything wrong, but you're going to find out that people who complain that those people are nosy are probably going to be the best witnesses.
Absolutely. Right.
When I moved to, I can think of 3 particular neighbors. Like I said, they were elderly. It took them time to warm up, but they were over time, within a year or two. I mean, just some of the best neighbors, and just the engagement, and watching my kids grow up.
Right.
They had some great conversations over the year. One has passed away, unfortunately. But like I said, that took time in it.
Yeah.
It wasn't the first week I was here.
Right.
I knew they were watching. Like I said, they were the best witnesses. He got a lot of car. They know your habits.
Yeah. He was surprised.
Like I said, nothing I did that was.
Yeah.
Something.
That's amazing. Yeah. Hey, for those of you that are watching, I think we might have to. Oh man, we wanted to talk for 20 minutes, but we've been going for 30 minutes. That's amazing. But I think we will kind of come to an end, at least for today. And it's good that we've talked about the idea of being a neighbor, how to build trust, and different things that comes with that. Not so much about having a bad neighbor, because there's nothing like that, really. There are different things that could shape how those relationship dynamics play out. One could be culture. The other could be, personal problems that they have, that they are projecting in that relationship. But overall, at the end of the day, I think the main...
That'd be a reason.
Exactly.
I mean, I come in here, my kids are grown. When I moved in, Kevin's married and then has 2 daughters.
Yeah.
If I'm looking for somebody I can relate to, I think I'm older than you.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking for somebody to relate to, that's not the guy, right? Because of the dynamic that we live in.
Yeah.
I'm single.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We're not going to get along.
Right.
Holy crap. We get along really.
Which is actually another good topic to actually talk about, to see how relationship of your neighbor, does that even impact how those relationship play out as well, whether the neighbor's married, the person you're talking about, if it's a man, a guy, does that also play out in the relationship? Let's say if he had a wife, and does that also still play out the same way, and maybe those could be strategies or ways to still,
we can go down a long
I know.
You've got, let's say a single female moved into this house.
Right.
Now you've got to consider
The communication dynamic.
Yeah.
And
then he's going to be the same way.
Right.
Kevin just loves people. He's going to be the same way. He's going to help. Now, is he going to go inside the house? Well, probably not. It's not going to happen.
And even if he does that without having any intention, that might also impact, the partner might also have concerns about that as well. So those kind of things.
He do it out of respect for the person living here, not because of his wife.
Yeah.
And the questions there, but just out of respect.
Absolutely.
And optics.
Yeah.
I think the optics are, for me, the secondary. I wouldn't want to go in there and make that person feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, which is interesting as well. But I remember when initially Dave, I would often invite Dave to the house, and for some reason he doesn't want to come in. But it makes he would rather stand outside. I'm like, man, go inside the house, But I get that it's in trying to respect, but which is kind of interesting. You don't think about those things really. Because I'm sure if I was the only person leaving there, he would probably just walk inside,
That's interesting that you bring that up.
Yeah.
If I surprise you, I don't know, there was a couple of times I knocked on your door for one reason or another. They made a delivery or something like that.
Missed the food delivery because it's usually not mine. It's like they're trying to find a house and they missed it.
and if I ring the doorbell, he opens it up.
Yeah.
No. If you're coming in here, I would say 9 times out of 10, knock on the door, even if it's a surprise, you're welcome in. But there may be other stuff going on. I may have a nasty house that I just know. I may have guns that I'm planting all over.
Yeah.
But so I just think there's a difference there. If it's spontaneous, it's nothing against you.
Yeah.
Quality.
That's another conversation we should have, because I guess we should respect each other's boundaries and spaces, but that spontaneity in being a neighbor, how do we manage that, right? Which is an interesting conversation. I think we really covered something really unique today, and we'll keep spinning on this at some point as in the next episode, but
there was a point on this real quick. I don't want to forget about it.
Yeah.
You called me during the summertime, and he says, "Hey, my heating and air conditioning's out. Do you know a guy?" Right? Like, hey, this is who I use. And I'm sitting here, and it's like, man, I know he's going to be miserable over there. I'm placing this is it in a box. I'm like, hey, I'll buy something for you.
Right.
And it's just little stuff, and it's like, it's not so appreciated. Yeah, I knew you would appreciate it, but I just know what an impact that would have on me.
Right.
To not have any AC.
Right.
Thinking, oh, yeah, I'm a